So I am the chairman of the Africa Subcommittee of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. And so I've been chairing a number of hearings, in particular focusing on the growing influence of communist China in Africa. Africa has become a major battleground where China is trying to gain influence, trying to gain power, and do so at the expense of America. And so this last week I wrote a letter to President Trump urging the president to recognize a new country in Africa. I'm going to read you the letter. Dear President Trump, I write to urge your administration to formally recognize the Republic of Somaliland as an independent state with sovereignty within its 1960 borders. Somaliland first gained independence and international recognition in 1960, before voluntarily uniting with Somalia later that year. Since moving to reclaim its independence in 1991, it has functioned as a stable, self-governing, democratic nation. It has held several peaceful elections since 2003, marked by strong voter turnout and peaceful transitions of power. Somaliland has emerged as a critical security and diplomatic partner for the United States, helping America advance our national security interest in the Horn of Africa and beyond. It is strategically located on the Gulf of Aden, putting it near one of the world's busiest maritime corridors. It possesses capable armed forces and contributes to regional counterterrorism and piracy operations. It has enabled the opening of a Taiwanese representative office in the capital of Hargeisa, sought to strengthen ties with Israel, and voiced support for the Abraham Accords. It has proposed hosting a U.S. military presence near the Red Sea along the Gulf of Aden, and is open to critical minerals agreements that would support our supply chain resilience. The U.S.-Somaliland partnership is robust, and it is deepening. Somaliland faces mounting pressure from adversaries, due in no small part to its role as a partner for the United States and our allies. The Chinese Communist Party is using economic and diplomatic coercion to punish Somaliland for its support for Taiwan, as well as to undermine that support. The government of Somalia has played an unfortunate role in these efforts. In April 2025, the CCP arranged for Somalia to bar Taiwanese passport holders from transiting into Somaliland, and Chinese support to Somalia is benefiting anti-Somaliland groups working to erode its sovereignty. Despite these threats, Somaliland remains committed to forging closer ties with the U.S. and is actively engaged in enhancing military cooperation, counterterrorism efforts, and economy and trade partnerships. To do so to the greatest effect and the greatest benefit to American national security interest, it requires the status of a state. I urge you to grant it that recognition.
This is obviously significant. What are the chances that this could move forward this way?
Look, I'm optimistic. I think there's a real chance the president will recognize Somaliland. As I said, they've been an ally to us. They've been an ally. This is a Muslim country in a very dangerous part of Africa. And they've shown real courage. They've shown real courage standing with the United States. They've shown real courage standing up to China. They've shown real courage siding with Taiwan, which infuriates communist China. They've shown real courage embracing Israel and the Abraham Accords. I think Somaliland would eagerly join the Abraham Accords. And so it is in America's national security interest, I believe, to recognize Somaliland, and probably the best confirmation of that is this week. China put out a public release blasting me, absolutely furious that I made this public call to recognize Somaliland, and here's what China put out as their statement. They said, quote, "A U.S. senator, in a letter boasting of so-called U.S. recognition of Somaliland region, launched baseless attacks against China and China-Somalia relations. The Chinese embassy in Somalia firmly opposes this misconduct." This coercive letter constitutes serious interference in the internal affairs of Somalia and further exposes the hegemonic and bullying attitude of certain U.S. politicians to the Somali people. Respect for sovereignty and territorial integrity and non-interference in each other's internal affairs are enshrined in the UN Charter as basic norms governing international relations for safeguarding world peace and stability. China never interferes in other countries' internal affairs and absolutely does not accept meddling in its own internal affairs by any countries. Taiwan is an inalienable part of China's territory. This is history and this is reality. China firmly opposes Taiwan independence separatism and external interference and possesses the legitimate right to take measures to defend national sovereignty and territorial integrity. The fact that China is freaking out, the fact that they are this pissed off, from my perspective, confirms that I was exactly right, and is yet another argument why President Trump should recognize Somaliland as an ally to America and as a country in Africa willing to stand up to Communist China.
Yeah, great point. We're going to keep you updated on this story because it's an important one, and we will have movement on it, I have no doubt. So make sure you download this show Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Hit that subscribe or auto-download button wherever you get your podcast so you don't miss a